Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Morro Bay Recreation and Parks Commission. Today is Thursday, April 21st, 2016. All commissioners are here and present, so we have a quorum. So if we may have a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. So now I'd like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. You start getting the big bird on the way down.
This way.
There it is. Okay. They moved. I pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see what we got going on today. Any announcements or presentations?
Really quick announcement from staff to the commission. We had a change of our meeting time this evening to 6 p.m. Thank you very much for your accommodation on that. Obviously, the reason why is that we have a little bit of a scheduling issue with kind of a newish committee in the General Plan Advisory Committee. And we're working really hard to make sure that AGP, that broadcast the meetings, can smoothly transition from one meeting to the other and not have to be at two locations. So they actually moved their meeting from the community center to here, and we agreed to push to 6 p.m. I'm hoping that through your general consent, no opposition, we can continue to do 6 p.m. probably through your June meeting. If you oppose that, please let me know, but it would really help AGP to continue to just have a 6 p.m. meeting until mid-year, and I think that'll be convenient for the community to have everybody in one room.
Okay. I don't have any problems with that. Anybody have a problem with that?
Perfect.
No.
That's my only announcement. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any of my commissioners have some announcements? There's a lot going on.
I have an announcement.
What is it, sir?
Okay. I will turn on my magic button here. I just wanted to remind everyone that the Bands on the Run, which is May 28th, 2016, and it is from Morro Bay High School. It benefits Morro Bay High School and Los Osos Middle School, their music education and scholarships program. It's open to everybody, and the website, I would like to encourage people to visit www.morrobaybotr.com.
Okay.
How about that?
That's good. Any other announcements?
I have one. I just want to remind everybody that I think it's okay to announce this. K-Rock 97.3 is having a fundraiser, and they're having their closing concert at the Vets Hall, May 13th, I believe it is. And they're going to have something like 10 different bands performing. And so you want to get down here, help raise money and support the local radio station. It's free. The concert's free, but they're going to have beer and wine, which naturally is not going to be free. So come on out, help support the local radio station, and hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairperson, one more announcement, since I think it's important. What a great opportunity for community event announcement. The Morro Bay Kite Festival.
Yes, that was on my list.
Is this weekend, so I'll defer to you for the details on that.
Well, yeah, the Morro Bay Kite Festival this weekend. It's supposed to be windy, so that'll be great. There's also the garden tour. There's a slow half marathon. I think that's this weekend. There's a monster skate contest, and part of it takes place here in town.
It does. It's put on by Ed Gallardo, who is our teen center coordinator. He's doing a great job.
Okay. And, of course, the big Morro Bay Car Show is coming up here in May, the 6th through the 8th, and there'll be thousands of cars here. So, as I always mention, you should go look on our website. You see all the wonderful programs that Recreation and Parks has, and also you'll see all the other things going on in town, like the garden tour and other things, just to get you out and about and out there getting healthy in the sun. So, any other announcements from... No? Well, there's a lot going on, so please look at the website. Get out there amongst them. We have, I guess, first order of business would be is public comment, and I don't see any public to comment. So public comment is closed. we have the consent items, A1 through A5, which all look pretty good. So I'd like to get a motion to receive and file them. May I get a motion to receive and file them?
I make a motion that we receive and file the agenda as so presented.
And may I get a second on that?
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to see one of the business items.
Thank you, Commission. So I'm going to work on a land speed record this evening to get you back out into the sunshine. That's so important for the Rec Commission, right?
Yes.
I think you've already done all the heavy lifting on this. We had a meeting previously regarding the partnership policy, and the big items were trying to figure out a way to really make sure that we recognize how many different organizations receive some type of either discounted or free space in one of our facilities. And what we were really concerned about at the time was honestly not having really any written agreements with these wonderful organizations for all the work they do, and spelling out both the work they do and what they receive in return. The big concern there being from a public taxpayer standpoint that it could look like we are gifting taxpayer funds, and we don't want that to happen. We're not gifting anything. They are basically providing a service on the community's behalf. And so their utilization of a facility really is kind of a payment for what they do. So with that in mind, what we did was we took advantage of the partnership policy, which was adopted and in existence, but it was a little, I don't know the best word is ephemeral, if you will. It was kind of academic. It had a lot of flowery language about why we love partnership, but didn't really drill down to what constitutes partnership, who we want to partner with, and really succinctly saying the best way to set up those partnerships. Very happy to say that Tiffany over here worked really hard on this agenda item on the staff report and the guidelines for folks to basically apply for a partnership. And probably those guidelines and applying for a partnership will probably be moving forward. The organizations that are already receiving some type of service deal with us, we likely will contact them directly because I think that it's very clear they're already providing a service, and we'll work to work on a partnership agreement with them. So nuts and bolts, here's what we did. We basically said, we took out kind of the academic language. We very clearly stated why we partner. It's a benefit for the community. This is oftentimes what is occurring is these folks are providing a service that the city otherwise might provide on its own, but we're not. That could be because of a monetary issue, a staffing resource issue, or it just doesn't fit in our programming right now. We'd love to do it, but we just can't. These partnerships allow us to find other organizations that can assist us and really enhance the community's quality of life. A great example of that is the Eco Rotary Club, who I've talked about numerous times here. They are an Adopt a Park program group. They do amazing things in the community. They currently receive space at the community center for their monthly meeting, and we want to make sure they can continue to do that. This partnership agreement or partnership policy basically outlines we want to partner with groups like that do Adopt a Park, that provide senior services of some kind on the city's behalf, that assist low-income youth, that assist the disabled. Good examples of each one of those, obviously Adopt a Park, Eco Rotary, Guerrilla Gardeners, Morro Bay Beautiful, Morro Bay in Bloom. Regarding disabled, Project Surf Camp is an amazing program that serves not only our community but the regional area and even nationwide. We get people from around the country that come for Project Surf Camp. When you talk about seniors, obviously the Morro Bay Senior Citizens Incorporated organization does a lot of amazing stuff for our seniors, and now with pickleball, all ages programming. And then you talk about low-income youth. That is our amazing partner in the Morro Bay Community Foundation, which provides a substantial amount of funding for low-income youth so that they can participate in the community's recreational sports programs and general programs like Kids Camp and Kids Club. So when we updated the policy, we kind of specifically said we'd love partnerships, come propose one to us, but we will really favor those types of partnerships. Recognizing that we already know those are the types of partnerships that the community enjoys and wants to continue. And so we basically put that in the policy. The next part, obviously, was we wanted to make sure that for future partnerships, anyone who came to us and wanted to propose something didn't have to go through a big rigmarole and a lot of paperwork, a lot of bureaucracy, to propose that. We want to keep it really simple. We want to make sure that it's really clear for them how we're going to make the decision to partner with them. What are the ways that we measure the viability of that partnership, the benefit to the community? And so all of that is in this document. A lot of it was in here already. I think it just kind of got a little bit lost in the academic language of the policy. And so we've really removed that, and we've condensed it down. I think this document is now half of what it was. And I think that's a good way to do it. What is not in here? And that's the final part before I ask you to support this through recommendation to council. The other aspect we talked about in terms of free use of facilities or discounted use had to do with what was called the co-sponsorship policy. In 2009, the City Council, through a motion, they didn't adopt a resolution or an ordinance. They can actually voice vote. You could do the same thing, if you were that type of body. You could simply move to make something happen. They created, through a motion, a co-sponsorship policy. That policy was designed to support events that really were here to boost tourism. And so what they basically said was we were going to give a discounted rate, substantially discounted rate, to those events that met certain criteria. Those criteria include being in what's called in the tourism business the shoulder season, meaning it's short or it's difficult for folks to come. Here, that's, I believe, between November and April. Is it a multi-day event, and is it put on by a nonprofit? Those were the three criteria. That really precludes a lot of events, but that's what was adopted. Again, though, it's really designed to make sure that people come and stay here and stay for multiple days. Right now, the only qualifying organization is the Bird Festival. When I started reviewing the partnership policy, the co-sponsorship policy related to events for tourism didn't seem to fit well in the partnership policy. The partnership policy is really about putting on a program or providing a service that we couldn't ourselves. And I don't know that those event sponsorships really fit really well with the policy. So I left it out. That's not to say that you this evening might say, no, let's put events in there and we'll just adopt that co-sponsorship aspect with those parameters in the policy. We can do that. So what you could do, through a motion is to say, we move to recommend to council to adopt this, but also include co-sponsorship. If you agree with kind of where I've gone so far, then maybe we want to push it off to council and let them have a little bit more discussion about it. Just move to recommend the partnership policy to council, and I will bring the full discussion to them on co-sponsorship. That really was something they kind of just developed on their own, and I think we need to have a little bit more discussion about it. I think the council at their last meeting, I shouldn't speak for them, but it seemed like maybe they were intimating that the co-sponsorship policy does need to be refigured, but I don't know that they also thought that it needed to be in the partnership policy. So we probably do need a little bit more work on that. It's not pressing. Those events are in the shoulder season, and we just so happen to be going into high season. So we got lots of time to talk about co-sponsorship. What we really want to get on the books now is the partnership policy, so that once this is adopted, then we're going to start working on all the different partnership agreements. To be clear, partnership agreements are not just one type of agreement. They could be multiple agreements. The document says that. It could be a management agreement. So for instance, right now we're working on a management agreement with the seniors to manage our pickleball program. They're already managing it. We're going to put it in writing. We're going to recognize their $30,000 donation they just provided to us to retrofit the Del Mar Park hockey rink. It could be a lease agreement. It could be a grant agreement, a donor agreement. It could be lots of types of agreements, but we will measure those and look at them through the magnifying glass of the partnership policy. Okay? So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Like I said, you did all the heavy lifting and all that super big talk on this policy at your last meeting, and then I brought it to council, and they had a lot of talk on it too. And I think we've really been able to distill it and boil it down to the simplest thing we need to make sure that we can have strong community partnerships with our wonderful local organizations. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a
Comment?
question. Sam, is there, on the partnerships we currently have, is there a need to review and check off the current partnerships to establish, since we're creating a new framework, is there a need to look at what partnerships we currently have and take a look at that?
So what we'll do is, the way this policy works now is probably any new organization that would like to propose something to us, we will hand them this policy and say, take a look at it. Here's also a way you can apply for a partnership or propose one to us, and then we have some guidelines. And then there's a document that kind of says, here's the prism through which we will look at each proposal. We'll probably put together like a city committee and bring it through you guys and say, here's all the things, the way we'll measure it. That'll be the future proposals. The ones that we already have, we will probably still take all of those guidelines and look at each one of the current partnerships that aren't in writing, but we know we have them through handshake deals and all that, and we will measure them by that document. The document technically was already in place. We haven't been using it. We've cleaned it up. We've simplified it, but now it's time to actually implement this policy and use it. And I think most of the organizations that I can think of off the top of my head that are receiving some type of discount, for the most part, easily meet our standards and what we're hoping for. There might be a few that we have some questions on, we might need to have some discussions with. For instance, and I don't want to be negative or pejorative, I just want to have a blunt, honest community conversation. The Coast Guard auxiliary, they receive, I believe, free meeting space in here. I'm not sure what type of community benefit is for a single organization to receive that. I don't know at this time. I'm not saying we won't work with them, but those are the types of organizations we really need to take a hard look at. They probably can't afford space, and so we need to try to balance what is the community benefit of the auxiliary and all that. They're the type of organization where probably we would ask them to partner with a city department, and that city department should ask internally for use of space for a meeting. And then someone from staff should be at that meeting and partnering with that group to make sure that staff is on the same page. I don't think that's happening right now. What's happening now is those kind of independent organizations are coming to us directly, and we'll work administratively internally to make sure we change that. And so some of this will be a cultural change, but we will proactively go to each organization and have a discussion with them now. We're not going to force them to come apply to us. We want to make sure we recognize the hard work that they're already doing. So.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm familiar with the pickleball, of course, but that's a good model to use because it's just now being established. But in an organization like that, through the seniors, not only is that going to be a daily operational center, okay, but they're going to be able to put on, besides city, county, regional tournaments, which now becomes an event. How is that going to cause any fluctuation of what kind of group you determine they are?
No.
Okay.
So the way we're working on that agreement with them right now, we actually have a version of it to them right now because we got the money from them already. We're working a little bit backwards. They've given us the money, and now they're trusting us to put together an agreement. I really appreciate the commitment from seniors. They really want to make it happen. We want to make sure that court's in place, by the way, by July 4th. So we're hoping for a ribbon cutting. That's why we're working backwards. We're like, let's go. No. So what we really want to do is, right now, I think the way I've kind of looked at it with the seniors in pickleball is we've kind of said, you really just get this specific time. And the reason why we did that was it was obviously a multi-use facility. That's not really a program. It's just pickleball play day. They always wanted more time, and we couldn't give it to them because we needed to respect the fact that it was a multi-use facility. It's now going to be a permanent pickleball facility. And so now when we talk about a pickleball program, we're talking about a diverse set of uses, from pickleball play day to clinics and educational sessions to open court time, where there's no specific play day with the group there, but anyone can come in and play, to tournaments or other type of classes. So now we're talking about a real program, and we really want to rely on the seniors as our partners to develop that program. And I think that's exciting to them because it allows them to enhance pickleball play day, to have some good time open for the group to be there. It allows them to do tournaments. And not only that, right now they're obviously collecting donations for pickleball, for play day. We don't intend currently at all to charge a monthly fee for pickleball. We're going to continue to rely on the seniors to collect money and fundraise to continue to enhance that program. And so we're just excited to really open up the doors of pickleball and see what we can do. So it won't impact them at all. For other types of agreements, I don't want to say that this is the general idea for anybody, because each partnership is going to be context-based. It's going to be based on the kind of the parameters we put in terms of community benefit and what type of service they're providing to us. But really, the doors are open to come propose something. Let us know how you can help the community of Morro Bay prosper, and we'll have a discussion with you. So we're not going to shut the door on anything. I think what I've heard from the city manager, David Buckingham, is that we never want to say no immediately to anything. That our level of customer service is, how can we help? How can we make it work? Now, sometimes we might not be able to make it work, but we're always going to start with an open mind.
Okay.
Okay, I have one just question on all these organizations that are going to be partnering with us. Are they kind of like, say, Eco Rotary goes down and does the Bay Shore Cliffs, cleaning that area, and another organization does this, like the Garden and Bloom does all those things, or not Garden and Bloom.
Morro Bay and Bloom.
Morro Bay
Yes.
and Bloom, yes. Is there a value put on the services they provide, which then in turn gives them a benefit to get value back from us? Like if they spend, I know there's a contract where they had to spend, 8 hours a month down there cleaning the park to get the free room. So is there like a value they're putting on everything to justify giving them discounts or something like that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So one of the guiding questions that we ask when we review each partnership is, will there be a monetary benefit for the city, and if so, how and how much? Other questions related to financials: what resources are expected to come from the Recreation Services Division? And I probably will actually ask you to recommend that we have the ability administratively to modify this to make sure the questions are appropriate. Because I want this to be a citywide policy. I don't want it to just be recreation services. Adopt a Park, for instance, is no longer reviewed by rec. It's a public works policy. But we want to make sure this partnership policy works for every department. Other financials: will your organization offer programs or services at reasonable and competitive costs for all participants? What are the anticipated prices for our participants? Can the project generate more revenue and or less cost per participant than the city can provide with its own staff or facilities? If not, why should the city partner on this project? Obviously, the big one related to your question was, will there be a monetary benefit and how much? And so I will tell you right now, Morro Bay in Bloom is very, very interested in a partnership agreement, and they have very mindfully, thoughtfully, and tactically come to us and said, the state rate for volunteerism is X amount. It's something like $20 an hour. And they said, this is how many hours we've put in around the community, because if you look anywhere at any of the landscaping, it's either Morro Bay Beautiful or Morro Bay in Bloom. And that's thousands of dollars a year that they put into maintaining this community's landscaping, and that enhances quality of life. It enhances economic development in the business community. So they're very aware of what their benefit is to the city, and they're doing it the right way. They've made their argument to us without us having to ask. They just did it. What they're going to ask for is, I think, 3 times a year where they can put on an event in a facility or have a meeting. And we'll keep looking at that. I don't think we're going to have any problem with that, because they really do put in a ton of effort. And we welcome the same thing from Morro Bay Beautiful. They might already have some of it. Honestly, we keep finding these types of agreements that don't have anything in writing. So we will ask them, what is the monetary benefit? And we will work as hard as we can with them to help them ascertain that. Some organizations know it really well. Some might need some help. Part of the review process is to say, yeah, we might want to partner with you. And if we get to that level, it gets handed off to a staff member who will then review it with them, kind of in partnership. So we're going to give a lot of customer service to people.
I have a question along the same lines for clarification on the part one.
Microphone, please.
It's on. How's that? Part one under section 2, the partnering process checklist. It's the trigger at which a request for proposal is generated. It says that when we are partnering with a for-profit entity in a dollar amount greater than $5,000, what is that specific to? Like the amount of relief thereafter, or generated income?
Typically, so that's probably going to be if they're generating, if there's some type of revenue related to that, where we're either paying them in that way or they're generating that amount of revenue. There are legal reasons why we need to make sure that we're not just picking and choosing winners and losers in this process, where someone just comes to us and says, we want to sell hot dogs. If we do that without going to a process that's more fair for bidding, we could find ourselves in legal trouble. So that's why we put that trigger in there.
So I hear you saying it could apply to either one. If the amount of relief they were requesting was $5,000, or if they were proposing to generate more than $5,000.
Sure.
In either case, then we would have to decide whether we wanted to open that up to others who may be willing or interested in providing the same service.
In my opinion, yes.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we're avoiding unfair private competition.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Any other things? No? Well, if I may say one thing. As far as like the Coast Guard, I mean, this is a Veterans Hall. I think if the armed forces want to use this building, that we should accommodate them. After all, I think we're quite fortunate to have the Coast Guard here. And there's a lot of boaters here, and, you know, they not only protect our borders, but, you know, if you're drowning, they'll come rescue you no matter what.
Fantastic point.
So,
and we do have an explicit legal obligation in this facility for veterans groups to receive a discount or free rate. Mm-hmm. We will need to review if Coast Guard Auxiliary is considered a veterans group.
Okay, well, yeah.
But that's a fantastic point. That gives me a little bit of a loophole.
I like those folks. They're good folks.
I like loopholes.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments on questions, things?
I just want to make a motion.
Make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the partnership as so presented to us and let the partnership only. We'll let the other part, the city council, ponder that out some more.
Do I have a second?
You got a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So what other business do we have today? So nobody showed up for public hearings.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. If you hurry, you can get down here and talk, no? All right. Well, then I guess this meeting's adjourned. Thank everybody for their time, and we'll see you next time. Is the next meeting the park tour?
No, so
No,
you
two
have
meetings.
two meetings. You have a
from
May
now.
meeting and then we skip June and go to July. So
Okay.
we'll see if we need a May. I don't know yet.
Okay. Oh, what
It
about
will
the
be 6
the
p.m.
workshops? We had talked about having workshops instead of meetings, or
Sure. So your only additional meetings are April and August. So
Okay.
really, what it comes down to is we'll kind of obviously we did April. We always can have a discussion if we need the August meeting or the April meeting. Sometimes we might not need it, and we'll give you a break, and we can internally cancel that. Most specifically, if you haven't added anything as a future item.
Okay.
And we don't do that a whole lot. We try to work internally to help provide your agenda.
all right. Then I guess this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.